Good morning, grade 6s and 7s. Welcome to my Zone online school. My name is Oswald Ndoda. With me here is Pamwene. Please, let's welcome him. Right, before we proceed, remember always to put on your mask. Let's reach out on our sanitizers and try to squeeze our hands, our palms, inside, outside, and in between the fingers. Let us all stretch out to make sure we maintain a 1 meter distance. Today's lesson is on countable and uncountable nouns. Right, boys and girls, I would like you to look around wherever you are and try to identify some object or anything that you are seeing around. I'm sure you have identified things like tables, chairs, books, cups, etc. Now, those are common nouns and proper nouns. Remember what we said about common nouns and proper nouns. Proper nouns are specific names of people and of things around us, including animals. And the common nouns are just general names like a tree, kettle, etc. Now, today, let us look at something a little bit different. If we turn to page 3, we would see where it is written countable and uncountable nouns. Let me just try to write something on the board. We have countable nouns and also uncountable nouns. Right. Countable nouns, as the name says, implies to things that you can actually count, and uncountable nouns, it means you cannot count them. Right, let us follow through together. Countable nouns are animals, places, things, individual people or ideas which can be counted. Countable nouns have singular and plural form. For example, dog, dogs, a house, houses, a friend, friends. Countable nouns and quantifiers: a few books, lots of oranges, many people. The countable form can use the indefinite articles a, o, n, and the indefinite article the. Countable nouns have numbers in front of it: 2 apples, 5 dogs, etc. Right, these countable nouns, we are saying, we are talking about the things that you can actually count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And uncountable nouns, it means you cannot itemize them. You cannot count them one by one. All right. As the examples that have been given there, to say 1 dog, 2 dogs, 3 dogs. Okay? 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, etc. So that is what we call countable nouns. Let us look at uncountable nouns and give some examples. Uncountable nouns, things that cannot be counted. They can be substances. Watch out on that note, there is a wrong spelling there. E.g., sugar or smoke. and abstract ideas or qualities, e.g., bravery, intelligence. Uncountable nouns are always singular, like smoke, air, sugar, intelligence. We cannot count milk. We cannot count milk, but we can count bottles of milk or liters of milk. In other words, we are saying you can't say 1 milk or 2 milks, but you can say milk, 2 bottles of milk, 3 bottles of milk, etc. The definite article the can be used for countable nouns as well as the words some, few, lots of, etc. These can be used for uncountable nouns. They can be used for uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns cannot have a number in front of them. But before we proceed, there is a word, many, just the second last sentence, where it says many. I think that's a mistake, because many is for countable nouns, like you say in many books. All right. Now, let us look at the examples of countable nouns, which are orange, apple, lemon, pencil, animal, book, eggs, cow, cherry, man, rubber, friends, watch, pillow, shoe, skirt, coin, bag, suitcase, bone. If we move on to uncountable nouns, we have water, coke, coffee, oil, steam, oxygen, smoke, air, pollution, hair, ink, sugar, flour, milk, salt, sand, ice cream, honey, and information. All right, all these words I've read, we said some of them are countable and others are uncountable. Those which are uncountable, you cannot itemize them. You can't count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sugars. No. Unless if you associate them with their containers to say 2 spoons of sugar, 2 cups of milk, etc. Let us turn to the next page, which is page 4. And we look at further examples. There is an activity 1 there. It says examples of countable and uncountable nouns. Activity 1. Put the nouns in the box into their correct category, countable or uncountable nouns. Write the plural form of the countable nouns. Remember, the plural form is when we say, for example, 2 books, 3 books, which is opposed to a singular form, which says 1 book, 1 pen, 2 pens. All right. So the plural form gives us the quantity of the things. Right. The words that we have are banana, petrol, gold, coal, water, transport, etc. Do we say a banana, or do we say 2 bananas, or we just say bananas? Do we say a water, or we just say water? Do we say a transport or we just say transport? So there are some columns there for uncountable nouns and countable nouns. And then where we have countable nouns, you need to write the plural form of each. For example, the count nouns or countable nouns, if you take banana, in the plural form, it's going to be bananas. If you take mouse, the plural form is going to be mice. Remember, mice is M-I-C-E. Right, but as for the uncountable nouns, they don't have the plural form. Let's move on to activity 2. Activity 2 says, identify the uncountable noun in each sentence and write it on the line provided. Identify the uncountable noun in each sentence and write it on the line provided. Number 1 says, the duvet is filled with lots of cotton. The duvet is filled with lots of cotton. Right, which one could be our uncountable noun there? The duvet is filled with lots of cotton. Right, we have words duvet, we have a word like cotton. Do we say cottons? Right, so that word is an uncountable. That is what we write on the provided space. Okay, you can only say 2 bags of cotton or 2 rolls of cotton. All right. The next one is junior primary children are filled with energy after their break. Junior primary children are filled with energy after their break. Now, if we look at that one, that sentence, the uncountable nouns, that should be energy. You don't say 2 energies, 3 energies. All right, so we say junior primary children are filled with energy after their break. Right, boys and girls, I would like you to complete the following sentences by identifying the uncountable nouns. Right, boys and girls, let's go back to our page 5, where I explained on uncountable nouns, but let us also look at countable nouns. The instruction says, identify the countable nouns in each sentence and write it on the line provided. Again, there's an error there. As you can see, it says write it them. So you leave out them. Can you cancel it out? So that it reads, identify the countable nouns in each sentence and write it on the line provided. That becomes correct without them. Right. Number 1. The learner misplaced his school bag after school. The learner misplaced his school bag after school. Right, let's identify the countable nouns there. Yes, we have a word like learner, because we can say learners in plural. We also have a word like school bag. We can also say school bags. Even the word school is also schools, right? So those are countable nouns. You can say one learner, two learners, one school bag, two school bags, one school, two schools. So those words are the ones that you write on the space provided. Number 2 says, Scrappy the chicken laid white eggs. Scrappy the chicken laid white eggs. Now, countable nouns there. We have chicken, it can be 2 chickens. We have eggs. Again, it's 1 egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs. Right. From number 3 up to number what? Up to number 4. You can do that on your own. Now let's turn to page 6. Page 6 is another activity with countable and uncountable nouns. The instruction says, complete the sentences using a or some in the blank spaces. A or some. Right. There is some sand in my shoe. There is some sand in my shoe. Number 2 says, there is a $10 note in my wallet. There is a $10 note in my wallet. Right. Let us compare the two. Some sand and a $10 note. Which one is countable and which one is not countable? Some sand, we are using it on things which we cannot count, which is uncountable things. So that's an uncountable noun. And a $10 note, we are using it on countable nouns. A $10 note, 2 $10 notes, 3 $10 notes, 4 $10 notes, etc. Let us look at the next pair of words, sentences. The first one says, there is dash bottle or jar of juice in the cupboard. There is a bottle or jar of juice in the cupboard. A, which means it's countable. It's a countable noun. There is some butter in the fridge. There is some butter in the fridge. Again, here it shows us it's uncountable. We cannot count butter to say 1 butter, 2 butters, 3 butters. Only if you are counting it in terms of its containers. 2 packets of butter, 3 packets of butter, etc. Right, let's move on to the next page. The rest on page 3, activity 3, you will do it on your own. The next page gives us activity 4, countable, uncountable nouns. There is a list of nouns there where it says shopping list. Bread, water, apple, rice, potato, banana, sugar, salt, etc., etc. And then on your right hand, there is words written, there is, there are. There is and there are. There is and there are. So we would like to complete those spaces provided. For example, the first one, there is dash an apple. Do we say there is an apple or there are an apple? All right. We say there is an apple because we can count an apple, 2 apples, 3 apples, etc. The next one says, there is some sugar, there are some sugar. Which is which there? There is some sugar, there are some sugar. So we would say there is some sugar. And then we go to carrots. There is some carrots, there are some carrots. We would rather say there are some carrots because we can actually count them. There is a banana, right? As you can see, the word banana is in singular form. It's not in plural. So we would say there is a banana. If a word is in, if our noun is in plural, we would say are. If our noun is in singular, we would say is. Right, and then the other part at the bottom there, it says a, an, and some. A, and some. Number 1 says, in my fridge, there are dash eggs. In my fridge, there are dash eggs. In my fridge, there are some eggs, some meat, some tomatoes, a carrot, and, some milk, and a bottle of wine. Right, so you realize that where we have a, the noun there is in plural form. Where we have an, like an egg, the noun will be in singular form. Number 2, I went to the supermarket and I bought some rice, a packet of biscuits, some hamburgers. There's a plural there, there's an S on hamburger. So it's hamburgers, so we say some hamburgers. A loaf of bread or some bread, and an onion. It's one, so we say an onion. So where we use a, it means it's singular. Or if you say a packet of, then it becomes plural. For example, a packet of biscuits, a packet of sweets. And where we use an, again, it's singular. Like an egg, an orange, an envelope. All right. But where we use some, it means we cannot count. So, I mean, it's in plural. Some eggs, some meat. We cannot count meat. All right. So, boys and girls, the other exercise on top, where we did not complete, I would like you to read those words, and then you complete using the is and the are, and then in the next stage, we'll go to the next exercise. Right, boys and girls, let's turn on page 8. Turn to page 8. We have activity 5. Say whether the following are countable or uncountable or both. Right, boys and girls, Remember, we said countable are the things that you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And then uncountable, these are the things which we cannot count. All right. And also remember the singular and plural. Now, for countable nouns, we said you put a C. If it's uncountable, you put a U. And if it's both countable and uncountable, you put a B. Number 1, dollars. Dollars. Do we say $1, $2, $3, $4? Yes. So it means we can actually count the dollars. But I have often heard people saying $2, $3. That is wrong. You cannot say $3. If there are 3, then they become dollars. So you say $3, $4. All right. So you put a C there. Number 2 says water. Do we say 1 water, 2 waters, 3 waters? No. We said water is uncountable. So you put a U there. Unless if you are talking of containers of water, that's when you can say 2 bottles of water, 2 cups of water, etc. That's our number 3, bottle of water. It's countable. 1 bottle of water, 2 bottles of water, etc., etc. And then we have pollution. Do we say 1 pollution, 2 pollutions? No, pollution is pollution. The same applies with food. Do we say 1 food, 2 foods, 3 foods? No. Food is just food as uncountable. So food is uncountable. Now you finish the rest of the exercise by putting countable, uncountable, or both. The next part under that activity says, fill in the gaps with some or any. Some or any. Remember, we gave examples of some sugar. Right, number 1 says, have you got some brothers or sisters? Or do we say, have you got any brothers or sisters? Right. Brothers and sisters can be counted. I have 2 brothers, 3 brothers, 4 brothers. So, for that sentence, you'd rather say, have you got any brothers or sisters? Have you got any brothers or sisters? So in that case, we are saying you can count them. So any is used on countable in that respect. Then number 2 says, we don't need dash milk. Do we say we don't need some milk? Or do we say we don't need any milk? Right, remember milk is not countable. So we say we don't need some milk. We don't need some milk. Unless if it was in containers, that's when we would say we don't need any bottle of milk. We don't need any cup of milk. If it's not in a container, if it's simply milk, you say some milk. Number 3, there are dash pens on the table. There are dash pens on the table. Do we say there are some pens on the table, or there are any pens on the table. Which one is appropriate there? There are some pens on the table. There are some pens on the table. Number 4, I want dash eggs because I'm going to make a cake. I want dash eggs because I'm going to make a cake. Would you say, I want some eggs because I'm going to make a cake? Or, I want any eggs because I'm going to make a cake? The proper one there is, I want some eggs because I'm going to make a cake. Number 5, is there dash water in the fridge? Is there dash water in the fridge? Remember, this is a question. Is there dash water in the fridge? Is there some water in the fridge? Is there any water in the fridge? The appropriate one there is there some water in the fridge? You cannot say, is there any water in the fridge? Because we can't count, unless if you are talking of containers, is there any bottles of water in the fridge, for example? And the last one there is, are there dash problems? Are there some problems? Are there any problems? Problem 1, problem 2, 3 problems, 4 problems, 5 problems. Therefore, it will be proper to say, are there any problems? Right, boys and girls, let's turn to page 9. It's a continuation of our activities. Right, on page 9, there is an activity C, which says, fill in the blanks with much or many. Much or many. Now, let us see where we would use much and where we use many. Right. How dash money do you have there? How dash money do you have there? Do we say how much money do you have there, or how many money do you have there? Remember, we said for the word many, we use for the things that we can count. I have many cattle, I have many books. And then when you look at much, this is where we use on uncountable nouns. How much money do you have there? That becomes appropriate. How much money do you have there? Number 2, I don't have dash close friends. I don't have dash close friends. Right, friends, remember, can be counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't have many close friends. Many will be appropriate there, rather than using much. Many will be appropriate because we are using it on things which we can count like friends. Right, numbers 3 to 6, you do them in your books on your own. Let's proceed to D. Activity D says, fill in the gaps with a lot of, a few, a little, and much. A lot of, a few, a little, and much. Right. You have to be very careful here when you use such items. A lot of books, a lot of goats, a lot of sheep. It means you can actually count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Then we have a few, a little, and much. a few, a little, and much. Where do we use them? Let's go to number 1. I don't have dash experience. I don't have dash experience. Do we say a lot of, a few, a little, and much? Experience, we don't count it. So we say, I don't have much experience, because experience is a noun which we cannot count. It's uncountable. So I don't have much experience. Number 2, there are dash people waiting to buy tickets, about 3 or 4. There are dash people waiting to buy tickets, about 3 or 4. Do we say there are a lot of people waiting to buy tickets, about 3 or 4, or do we say there are a few people waiting to buy tickets, about 3 or 4? There are a little people, or there are a much people, right? We are saying here about 3 or 4, which means there are not many. So we say there are a few people waiting to buy tickets, about 3 or 4. There are a few people to buy. So a few, we also use it in things that we can count, or nouns that we can count. 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 5 people. All right. So there are a few people waiting to buy tickets, about 3 or 4. The next one is, hurry up. I don't have dash time. Hurry up, I don't have dash time. Hurry up, I don't have dash time. Remember, time as it is, you cannot quantify it unless if you are talking of hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. But when we use the word time, it becomes a bit tricky. Hurry up, I don't have dash time. Hurry up, I don't have dash time. Remember, time as it is, you cannot quantify it unless if you are talking of hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. But when we use the word time, it becomes a bit tricky. Right. Hurry up, I don't have, do we say, hurry up, I don't have a lot of time. Hurry up, I don't have a few time. Hurry up, I don't have a little time. Hurry up, I don't have much time. So it should be, hurry up, I don't have much time. Because we cannot say 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Okay. Right, the remaining number 4 to number 8 is for you to do in your books. Right, the last part is saying uncountable nouns. Let's take note of that. There are some nouns which are called, there is another problem again there. It says which are called known as. That is wrong. You simply say there are some nouns which are called uncountables and uncountables. There's a problem there. There's some kind of a repetition. So let's correct it. There are some nouns which are known as uncountables, and it should be uncountables only, not uncountables, then uncountable, right? They never want an S. Even when there is more than one, they would not need an S. Learn them by heart and you will sound correct. Remember that they are tricky, so please don't get upset. Right, I'll give some examples here. We have nouns like mice, which is the plural of mouse. Mice is plural for mouse. You don't say 3 mices or 3 mice. 3 mices, I've seen 3 mices, or seen 2 mouses. All right, it's just mice. I have seen mice, 5 of them. Okay, so mice is uncountable. Are we together? Mice. And then we have also another word like rice. Again, that is not countable unless if you count it in terms of packets. 2 packets of rice, 3 packets of rice, etc. So, that's the exercise. You may also add on to the one above. Right, last but not least, let's turn to page 10. Right, now page 10 needs people who have good voices. There is a song there. Unfortunately, I would not sing for you because I don't have a good voice, but believe you me, there are lots of nouns, both uncountable and countable nouns, singulars and plurals in that song. So, in pairs, I would ask you to sing the song, and then you identify the uncountable nouns and the countable nouns in that song. Thank you very much, boys and girls. Right, boys and girls, thank you very much. I hope these countable and uncountable nouns, they have helped you quite a lot. And I hope you are going to remember the difference between the two. We say the countable nouns, these are the nouns which you can count, and uncountable nouns, they are the nouns which you cannot count. We also talked about the plurals which are uncountable, like the word mice, which should just be read as mice. So keep on reading on these countable and uncountable nouns, singulars and plurals. Try to group them accordingly. Right. Before I go, let us again take our sanitizers and we spray our hands, squeeze our palms, boys and girls, inside and outside, in between the fingers, and we stretch our hands to signify the social distance. Thank you very much. We'll meet in the next lesson. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Shashi. And Simon says don't touch your face, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth unless your hands are super clean.